Well, hello
Can you
everyone. This
see?
is Dr. Shelley Plumb. I'd like to welcome you all back to From the Hip. Today we have a treat. We have Sharon Castle with us. Now, Sharon, if you're not familiar, is a lifestyle and wellness coach, and I would like to welcome you and thank you for joining us today, Sharon. How are you?
I'm really good, and it's so wonderful to be here.
Wonderful. So, for our listeners out there that maybe don't know you, tell them where you're from, first of all, and then how is your approach to lifestyle and wellness coaching unique?
Well, I am from South Africa,
Ah,
and it's so interesting that you are sitting on the other side of the world,
I
and we
know.
are
Isn't that funny?
fabulous.
It's a treat
Yes,
for
so we
me
are.
too.
It's lovely, and so you are probably heading towards summer, and we are in the middle of winter over here. I live on the coast, so I'm pretty much like Miami. We have beautiful weather most of the time, and really not too. It doesn't get too cold. So, yes, my background is really in wellness coaching because I had a history in my family of some family that died very early, mostly from cancer and heart attacks and so on. And I didn't want to be another statistic. So
No.
I decided that I was going to make some changes. And I wanted to just, find out for myself how to be optimally well. What did I need to do to change that pattern in my own family? And I started to do some research, and some of the things that I tried worked and some didn't. So I took those things and I implemented them into my life, and eventually that became a way of life for me. And then obviously people say, what are you doing? And how do you look so well? And how do you maintain your health and so on? And I started to share that. And probably about 15 years ago, I decided to formalize my business and study life coaching as a practice, because at that stage in our country there really wasn't much of that going on. So I wanted to become a brain-based lifestyle coach, because I believe that it all starts in the brain, and that's what I did. I studied with a company called Results Coaches. I learned everything I needed to on how to become a good coach. And so I developed my own style. I've been pretty much doing it for more than 35 years. But at that stage, long ago, when I started, I thought it was just helping people. I thought I was just sharing information. And once I'd formalized it, I realized that, wow, this is a wonderful opportunity to give people more information and more knowledge to empower themselves. Because when you take responsibility for your own health, that's when it changes, rather than just getting stuff from other people. It's saying, what do I need to do to make the changes myself? And really, that's what I do. I facilitate change in people.
You know what? I love that. And I love, but two things about what you do. And I can, we have interviewed several different types of life coaches, and I love the comment on the brain and the fact that you study how the brain works and how it works into our life ambitions and our dreams. And then the other thing, and I saw this on your website, actually your tagline, it has to do with change. And I'm going to, for the viewers that are out there, I would like to read this, and I want to get your comment on this also, Sharon. You say every decision to change starts with the intention to be the change. I love that. I love that. What does that mean to you? I'm curious.
Well, working with the brain and understanding a little bit of how quantum physics works,
Yes.
you have to set an intention. You've got to actually send that information out there that this is what you are focused on. This is what you want to do with your life. This is for the goals that you have. And once you set that intention, a very powerful force cooperates with you so that you can go through what you need to go through in order to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. So my way of coaching, my style of coaching is always about being very intentional. Like, what do you intend? Even if it's a small little intention about what you can do in this very next moment so that you can gain momentum, you can do something different, you can make a change which leads to transformation. So it's always about setting the intention, because when you're wishy-washy about things, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. No, I want to do this and I would like to do it in this way. Even if it doesn't work out that way perfectly, at least you kind of aiming for the bullseye. And maybe you won't get it right on the bullseye, you might get it just on the side, but you're in that direction. And so things will be shown to you to help you to achieve what it is that you're intending.
I love that. I love that. And you just mentioned a bullseye. And from what I'm hearing from you, success is really, aiming for that bullseye and really focusing on the bullseye. Am I right in saying that?
Absolutely.
Uh,
Serious focus, yes.
so jumping off of that, a lot of our listeners and myself included, I struggle sometimes with that focus on the bullseye, and really the reason is in today's society that dominating multitasking. What are your views on multitasking, and how does it relate to that bullseye that you're talking about?
What a fabulous question. I'm so glad you asked this one because it is such a common thing amongst most of us, wanting to just be so focused and stop procrastinating, because really that's what being focused and being intentional is to stop procrastinating. My view, my worldview is that we are so inundated with distractions. And when you really want to be focused, you've got to shut down every single thing that is going to take you away from your focus. We've got all kinds of things coming at us in our emails and our cell phones and TV and media and so on and so on and so on. And it's identifying who you are. If you cannot control those distractions for you when you're being very intentional in your life, you've actually got to remove them. And that's what I did. And we made a decision. And when I say we, I'm talking about my husband and myself many years ago, that we would not be chronic TV watchers. And in fact, for a very long time, we didn't even have a TV because I felt that that was a distraction. The same as social media, limiting it to times when you can focus on it, not during work time, because really it's social media, unless you're a social media company and unless you're working on social media to put something up there for your business, is really a waste of time.
Yes.
So it's making sure that you remove everything around you, including maybe changing environment. Sometimes that's important so that you can be that focused.
I agree with that, and I'm curious, and I have my viewpoints on this as far as the top distractors in today's society. You're trying to aim for that bullseye and focus. What would you say are the top distractors so that our viewers are really cognizant of it?
I'd say the number one top distractor is your own mind
Ah,
in your brain. It's the inability to say, I am going to do this now. And just knowing what the bullseye is. What is the bullseye? It's the vision you have of what your future looks like, because it's not happened yet. But you know that it will happen if you continue on this path. So I'd say the top distractor is your mind, and of course the way that you overanalyze things, and that gets you into a state of fear. And once you're in a state of fear, you're running on your instincts because your body at that stage now recognizes that there might be a threat, because your brain is actually not intelligent. Your brain is an organ. The mind is something else. The mind is a combination of emotion and thought. Together, that combination makes the mind. So if you want to really focus on that bullseye, you've got to set the intention, number one. You've got to be incredibly single-minded about what you want to do. And the minute you get into fear, you've got to have something that takes you into a new frame of reference, a new mindset. And the only way to do that is to help your brain to go somewhere and have either some kind of an affirmation, declaration, something that will get the brain off of that old way of thinking, which I call the default mode. So the default mode is the fear mode, like, oh, what if this doesn't work? And what if it's not the right idea? Just get started. Even if it's not exactly going to hit the bullseye, but slightly on the side, like I said, it's going to get you there eventually, just going with it. So yeah, that's what I think the process should be.
that's wonderful. Yeah, the main distractor is the mind because, when I ask that question that I just asked, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, social media and TV and all of this. But honestly, it's very clear to me right now is that all of those things would not be a distractor in my mind. was in sync. That's interesting
Huh.
that you say that.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
mind is the point is the thought. So it
Yes.
starts with the thought. After the thought comes the emotion. And if the emotion is any one of those kind of low energy emotions of fear or regret or worry or guilt or any one of those things, then you are not going to take action because the body immediately will go into the state of survival and it will feel like it's under threat because, like I said, the brain is not intelligent. So it's only going to respond to what you are feeling and the way you are being. It's going to release certain hormones. It's going to hardwire certain neural pathways, the default mode. So if you want a new default mode, which is one that might be of, wow, I'm really going to be successful in this certain thing and I'm going to do these things, the new default might be, I take action immediately. Whereas the old default might be, I'm too scared to do this in case I fail. So it's one thought that can create a whole series of events for you that will catapult you into that taking action, and then we're on our way.
Ah,
So it's just about that one thought.
you know what? And I like that. I mean, taking action. And I will speak from my personal standpoint in the journey that of my life. Fear has been a big factor in many respects. And there have been certain things that have moved me past that fear. I am curious for our viewers that are out there from a lifestyle and wellness coaching standpoint. Are there tips you can give our viewers for overcoming fear and using it more of a constructive tool and not destructive?
Absolutely. I like to think of all of your power being on the other side of your fear. So, if you kind of draw a line in the sand, on the one side is fear and on the other side is power. And it's just really stepping over that line, a tiny, tiny little action. If there's one piece of advice I could give, there's so many, but the real initiator would be just to take one small action, even if it's just to write something down. Once you've taken that action, now the mind can go somewhere else. And once that happens, your intelligence will actually move you in that direction because you'll be firing new neurons, a little bit of neuroscientific talk, but I think everyone understands this.
Yes.
Once you fire and wire those new neurons, you're now creating a brand new habit. And so if your old habit is to procrastinate and to not do things, just taking one little step in the right direction will start that new habit and you will build on that. It's like flexing a muscle. You can't just kind of lift the weight once and think it's going to be there. You've got to do it repeatedly. And once you've used that muscle, you have muscle memory. And so now it's going to work in your favor. So really, it's just like going to the gym. It's like having that practice, becoming, that habit, and that habit becoming you, and a good one at that. So we all have that capacity. It's possible for everybody to do that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you have certainly this morning been a wealth of knowledge. I thank you so much for joining us. Now, for viewers out there that are listening to our conversation here and they want to get to know you better, they want to see what you're doing, maybe get involved in your coaching, where would you point them?
Well, they can take a look at my website, and my website is www.sharoncastle, my full name, .co.za. That's where I'm from, South Africa. And they can also just contact me on social media. I have a professional page, Sharon Castle Lifestyle Coach. They can look me up there. And otherwise, I can also share my cell phone number. I'm very happy for people just to contact me on my cell phone. I have a couple of clients in the US that I see every single week. So it's very, very easy to get hold of me. And I coach people all over the world. So, if somebody wants to get some brain-based coaching, really find a way of moving and taking action and hitting that bullseye, then I'd love for them to get hold of me and get proper brain-based coaching. I'd like to think of myself as a teacher of courage, really. And it takes a bit of
courage. I love that.
Yeah, it takes courage to take that step. I understand that. I had to take that step many times, as I'm sure you have had to too. It's like, whoa, this is tough, but I'm going to do it anyway. So yes, if they're looking to get some courage, I can help them to do that.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, on behalf of the entire Plum Talk team, I would like to thank you so much for this note, words of inspiration this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Shelley. I so appreciate you giving up some time to interview me, and it's been fabulous. Thank you.
Wonderful. And for all of you viewers out there, this has been another inspiring segment of From the Hip. So until next time, this is Dr. Shelley Plumb.